Okay, but then you just like put it right back down again? I don't.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then why'd you lift it in the first place?
Because it will make you stronger. That's the whole point.
I do not understand.
Okay, that's evident.
Hey, Cecil, what's up with all the sparks?
Hey, guys. Hey, you won't believe it. Eli actually chose a cool topic this week.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Sacred Band of Thebes. Yeah, they were totally badass army in Greece. It's going to be awesome.
Sacred Band of Thebes. I feel like that's familiar.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, they're in a bunch of battles and stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and Google this. Yeah. I'm gonna Google this.
Greece.
Something is not.
Yeah, look it up.
Not right here.
So Eli asked me to help him get ready for some pre-episode role play. So I started working on the forge. I got spears, helmets. It's gonna be awesome.
Noah, Heath, you guys might want to take a look at this.
Oh, yeah. Cecil, I think Eli probably wasn't focused on the battle parts. Did you read it?
Well, it doesn't matter. Whatever, guys. Hey, Eli, it's ready. Eli.
Finally.
And he's wearing a silk bathrobe.
I made a spear and everything.
All right, now be gentle at first because
I told you this was not war stuff.
I made a spear.
I mean, I'll try it.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts, because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Noah, and I'll be driving back the hordes of ignorance tonight, but I'll need some pretty burly men to lock arms with. First up, two men who break the Kinsey scale by perversion and weight, respectively, Eli and Tom.
All right, labels are for milk jugs, and so are dicks.
Okay, not sure how those aren't interrelated, but you do you. I mean, I wouldn't. You're too skinny, but you do.
You do me. Come on, I'm Billy, like your wife. And also joining us tonight,
Cigarettes.
yeah, our two men whose podcast partners get taken aside to ask about their sexuality more often than any of us are comfortable with, Heath and Cecil.
Okay, I like to check in every so often. Just no reason. I just want to check in.
Guys, it's called being an incel, and we used to call it being married, okay?
Pretty sure marriage is still voluntary, but I don't know. It's been redefined a bunch of times, a bunch of attacks on it. I don't even know anymore. Okay, so now before we dive into the essay this week, I want to thank our patrons. Without you, this would be a really weird part of the intro. If you'd like to join their ranks, be sure to stick around to the end of the show to learn how. And with that out of the way, tell us, Cecil, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
Today, we're going to be talking about the Sacred Band of Thebes.
All right, and Eli, you jerked off to this article enough times already that was probably due an episode. Are you ready to zip up and educate?
I am, Noah. Sorely, slowly, but I am.
All right, so tell us, Eli, what was the Sacred Band of Thebes?
It was the most Greek thing imaginable, Noah.
Which is?
Gay hoplites.
Okay, so the Sacred Band of Thebes was
150 gay couples that kicked amazing amounts of ass.
Awesome.
Kicked. Yeah, I get slapping and fucking, but kicking, I'm not sure where that even fits in. Or like how? I don't know how does that.
Don't worry, Tom. That's what we're here to learn.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Now, I got to warn you, off the bat, the Wikipedia article mostly deals with their military exploits. Boo, boring. And there's remarkably little about the gay fucking, but they definitely gay fucked. So I thought maybe I would just spruce up the source material with some ideas I got when I looked up gay hoplite on Pornhub.
You know what? Let's just stick to the Wikipedia article, Eli.
Okay, fine. I will do it myself.
No, I want to play too. And Pornhub is pretty sure I meant submissive husband sucking toes and getting cucked.
Didn't you, though?
I mean, didn't you? Well, to be fair,
Interesting.
You did.
Yeah, their AI is really good. They get me. I just wake up and weird shit's on that I wanted. It's impressive.
So the earliest record of the Sacred Band by name came in 324 BCE in the works of Dinarchus. He doesn't talk much about them, but he mentions that they were responsible for the ass whipping the Spartans took at the Battle of Leuctra. Nothing at all about the fucking. You see what I'm up against
Jeez,
here.
it sounds like the J.C. Penney catalog of ancient battles.
Now, the most significant source we have for them is Plutarch, and even he tells us their origin story, which is amazing. So, apparently, the Sacred Band was formed after a rebel group kicked the Spartans out of their city. Now, Plutarch said it was started by this guy named Gorgidas, but there's some disagreement about that. Some sources say Gorgidas merely reformed an elite force. Others say there's no way history is cool enough that an army made of gay dudes was founded by a guy named Gorgidas. There's a lot of back and forth. According to Plutarch, Gorgidas handpicked the 300 strongest men of the city, regardless of social class. Then he paired them off into gay couples. like he just decreed which ones would fuck each other.
What is happening?
Including the fact that he decreed tops and bottoms. Like each pair.
That's just smart.
Yeah. Each pair was made up of an older Erastes, which means lover, and younger Eromenos, which means beloved.
Huh. Okay, serious question for you guys. What do gay guys do on their birthdays? Like, what's the special?
Do you mean for each other, or like how do they celebrate?
Yes.
Candles?
Kegels?
Candles. Anyways, so then Gorgidas orders them to do butt stuff, fall in love with each other, and be good at war. Their motto? No fatties, no femmes. I made up that last part.
Yeah, no.
Pairing them up seems so boring. It'd been much better if they just marched into battle as a long conga line of dudes fucking. You know?
Just hot playing really loud.
You're not scared of that? You're not scared of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's at least you'd be confused for a second. You wouldn't know what to do. In my head, though, they form up into like a human centipede type formation, but with two rows. And if you hit the middle, they split.
Oh, right,
deal with.
right.
I just admire the efficiency. It's like a recruiting office and casting couch all in one. Just bravo.
Just want to point out that the historical record gives us no proof that they didn't do all of that stuff. So it's perfectly fine that I'm envisioning it. So Eli, were they good at war?
Yeah, apparently that's all this article cares about too. So yeah, they were good at war. And for the first time, I truly understood why Cecil loves doing these old-timey military reenactments. When I read the wiki that, quote, their regular training included wrestling and dance, end quote.
And parade floats and waxing tips and wine pairings.
Sounds
I don't
amazing.
know, I'm just
right?
picturing bunch of sweaty guys in itchy clothes dancing and rolling around together.
Still not sure how this differs from the modern American military, but all right, continue.
I get it. Just makes me really curious about what war looked like back then, but those are literally the only two activities it lists under their regular training.
Wrestling and dancing. It's like the WWE, but, less sensual.
And less homoerotic too. Yeah, exactly. So when did they see their first action?
Well, I would imagine it was right after the wrestling and the dancing. Or, God, maybe even during, right? Beards intertwine, your laughter turns quiet, and touches turn more gentle.
Hey man, how do you put on your olive oil? Just serious for work, just serious.
I was talking about their first military action.
I wasn't.
Eli.
No, continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 votes.
Somebody answer the question.
All right. So the Sacred Band first went out to battle in 378 BCE at the beginning of the Boeotian War. Now, the wiki says it was during, quote, the famous standoff between the Athenian mercenary commander Chabrias and the Spartan king Agelsklias.
Nope.
Where'd the K come from?
Agelsklias.
It's like,
End quote.
it's like me trying
Anyways,
to pronounce
Use the letters. Use the letters in the name.
Agelsklias.
It's Agiosaurus. Thank you very much.
Agelous. Agelous laughs. Agelous. Anyways, I think the Wikipedia is overestimating how famous Athenian standoffs are.
How do you know all the other words?
They're
I
a
don't
lot like a
understand.
Mexican standoff, actually, but the projectiles are ejaculate, so it's different.
Yeah.
a little
Okay.
different.
So a family argument at Thanksgiving. Am I right, guys? Guys? No, just me. All right.
And well, they told me it was gravy.
It's lumpy. Why is it lumpy?
So the Spartan forces were held up for a couple of days by Theban forces, quote, manning the earthen stockades at the perimeter, end quote, which I think means butt stuff, but we don't know. Like, I can see how a bunch of Thebians gay fucking would at least slow you down to look, right? It's like a car crash, but it's probably not that. It was probably some boring army thing. I didn't click it. I could have, but I didn't.
I love it.
All I know is from now on, I'm going to call anal foreplay manning the perimeter. That's perfect.
That is good. I'm going to keep calling it awkward begging. Just make it simpler.
All right, but you know what? I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to start calling manning the perimeter anal foreplay. I bet my idea ends in more exciting misunderstandings than
Tune in next week and we'll follow up to see how that worked out. So eventually the Spartans breach the fortifications. Again, possible butt thing, possible not. Article wasn't clear. So and they start torching the Theban fields. Now, they could have retreated into the protective walls of Thebes. But even though they were outnumbered, they decided to stand and fight. Or dance back, whatever it was. The wiki is confusing. There's lots of Greek words that are hard to pronounce.
Yeah, it's best if you just stay still and they back up into you. That's
for me, Cecil, because maybe this is my time. All right?
Just a bunch of dudes twerk fighting, jabbing their asses together at each other. I'm beloved. No, I'm beloved. I said beloved. How old are you?
So Gorgidas arrayed his forces along the crest of a low hill with the sacred band at the front.
Wait, the crest of there's a male clit? Are you saying there's a male clit?
Yeah, it's called the dick.
It is called the dick. So the Spartan commander advanced, hoping to force them into advancing to lower ground, but they just expertly stood around. Like, the wiki makes a big deal about how good they were at just standing there, not advancing. And from what it says, the Spartans were like so impressed with the Theban ability to stand there not doing any military stuff that they just decided to leave. Okay, but I have a theory.
Of course you do.
As you know, I think this is a translation problem. As you know, the Greek word for stand is stasi, and the Greek word for parade is paralasi.
So you think...
That's right. First ever gay pride parade. And if you've ever seen a gay pride parade, those things are fucking terrifying, right? You got a float about pig parties right behind a P-flag group, which is behind a lesbian marching band. Spartans wanted to know what to think.
Sounds awesome.
Heath,
Yeah, Tom.
we just quit the show together, man.
Yeah, sure can, buddy. Sure can. Just you and me. I call beloved bottom. You're older. That's a rule.
All right.
You
Now,
were always going to be the bottom.
Okay. I mean, like, if we're being honest, it
don't
really
have
wouldn't
to
matter
call
what ages we were.
yeah. All right. Well, fascinating theory, Eli, but would you mind getting back to the article?
I mean, I do mind, but I will. So I'm not sure if you count that as a win exactly, but it's definitely not a loss. And as near as I can tell, that's the only use Gorgidas ever got out of his band of gay lovers.
Yeah, okay, if you completely discount the spank bank deposits he made creating
Well.
it, sure.
Fair. So it says that he disappeared from history between 377 and 375. And from then on, the guy in charge is a dude named Pelopidas.
Okay. So do they ever actually do military stuff other than dressing up and standing in a line?
Oh, yeah. This was in the year 375 BCE in the Battle of Tigra near the city of Orchomenus. Orchomenus.
You know, it's good that you chose a subject with which you are so familiar linguistically, Eli. Would you like to maybe take a break and look up some pronunciations?
No, but I will take a break and I will mispronounce more stuff after the skits.
Okay, well, if that's all I'm going to get, we'll cue the music and offer up a little apropos of nothing.
Hey, podcast listener, do you love Citation Needed?
Do you want to see the gang live on stage?
Tom, what are you doing? I'm doing the announcer voice.
No, I'm doing the announcer voice.
Well then, don't miss Citation Needed.
Live August 11th at the Victoria Biograph Theater in Chicago,
And don't forget to check out our Platinum Night.
where you can have dinner with the guys and
Now watch a never-to-be-recorded episode of Citation Needed.
just
For
you.
Citation Needed live in Chicago. Tickets in the show notes.
Don't miss it.
Or I'll stab you in the butthole.
Wait, I'm sorry, what? Stab you in the butthole?
I wanted to go last. I'm the announcer voice.
And now you have.
Okay, men. I am Gorgidas, and you are my elite fighting force. Yeah! We will train harder than any army ever has. Yes! We will fight harder than any army ever has. Yeah! And we will fuck each other.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Huh?
Sorry. Sorry, sir. What?
We will train harder than any other.
No, not that one. The last one, the one where we, did you say we fuck each other? In the one before that?
Yeah, I mean, men have needs, and there's no point in pretending we don't. I mean,
What? Right, but what if we're straight, sir?
Straight?
Yeah, like we're sexually attracted to women.
Why would you be attracted to women? They can't fight back.
Okay. Gross. It's really just something you're born with. Just, being hetero sometimes.
and
That's something
also,
you're born with.
like, do you plan on assigning who's a top? Because I really feel
Look,
like
men, I'm forming the most elite fighting force these lands have ever seen. And if where you lay your head at the end of the day is going to be your main concern, then you don't have what it takes. So, are you with me?
I don't know.
Well, I, for one, love the system.
See, this guy's a team player.
We could do teams. I'm okay with that.
And we're back. I'm sure that skit was crazy tasteful. Anyway, when we last left off, Eli was about to tell us about the Sacred Band's first entry in the W column.
More like the B column. So, Thebes is still fighting with the Spartans at this point, and Pelopidas, the new leader of the Sacred Band, hears a rumor that the Spartan garrison in Orchomenus has left for some campaign. So he decides that while the city is undefended, he'll sneak in there and take it.
Okay, not sure how they handled it back then, but now you need to get enthusiastic, positive consent. So,
Thank you.
Okay, but Pelopidas was commander-in-chief, so I feel like it's different. It's
Different
rules.
rules entirely.
Still
yeah.
a problem
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Right.
Not true. Yeah.
So-
okay, moving on.
Right, so he gathers up the Sacred Band and a small cavalry contingent and heads west, or whichever direction it was. I don't know. I wanted him to head in a direction. Anyways, they set out to take the city.
do gay guys sneak into the back door? I feel like that sort of stuff is pretty much expected. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not sure anyone's ever successfully snuck in.
yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
But if you do, wear a Trojan horse.
Actually, the original Trojan horse trick was a failure. They built two nesting horses, but they rubbed against each other really hard and they broke before they were ready to do the whole thing.
I don't wear condoms, so I don't get the joke. So when they you shouldn't wear condoms. It's a stupid thing. So when they reach the city, it turns out that yes, the
You
garrison
should always be wearing a condom. Like, you should always be covered
I don't
in
wear
condoms.
I don't wear condoms.
You should wear one on each finger. They're always sticky. It's gross.
I don't want to get into it. Anyways, so the garrison that was there had left, but before they did, a different garrison had showed up. So Pelopidas decided to chicken out and go home.
I'm sorry, wasn't this supposed to be the story of their first victory?
I'm getting there eventually, yes. So they're headed back to Thebes, and they get about as far as the shrine of Apollo of Tigra. And when they get there, they just happen to run into the Spartan garrison that left Orchomenus in the first place. Now, the Spartan forces outnumbered them more than 2-1. According to Plutarch, one Theban tells Pelopidas at this point, "We are fallen into our enemies' hands." And Pelopidas is supposed to have said, "And why not they into ours?" Which is...
That's awesome.
probably didn't ever happen. And if it did, the Theban probably answered back, like, because they outnumber us more than 2-1, and all we ever did was stand at ease really good ones. I feel like you're being intentionally obtuse in this conversation. But it sounds badass. It sounds badass, so I think it's true.
Well, if it was their first time, I'm betting they weren't completely at ease. They probably tensed up a little, you know.
Yeah, it's good that they practice small, though, before trying to take a 2-on-1.
Yeah,
though.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, another
thinking.
Yeah, right.
another serious question. I really want to know, in terms of etiquette, if you've got two tops going on one bottom and one guy finishes early, does Does he stay in there all soft and just get squished around? Jesus Christ. Or do you like pull out, or you throw him a finger? Like, what do you do?
You know, I wrote the same question to Miss Manners like 5 times. Never do I get an answer. Never.
I just want to point out, he doesn't return any of my texts, but this he wants to talk about on air.
Answer the question.
Send you viral videos. So Peloponnesus packs his forces in an unusually dense formation with hopes of breaking through the lines of the larger force. And if there's one thing gay armies can do, it's pack it in. So the cavalry rode in from the rear, another specialty of theirs, and by chance, they took out the Spartan leader in the first charge, which is weird because in my experience, a Trojan is way more likely to break.
Eli, leave Troy out of this. They were just into Bukkake, the face that launched 1,000 drips.
I remember that. So
it's because of the beard. It's because of the beard. That's
right.
why the drips. Yeah, it's like when a dog shakes off. You know, kind of goes everywhere.
Good. I'm picturing Kratos. You guys are picturing Kratos on the receiving end of a Bukkake, right? Old God of War 4 Kratos. Now, at this point, it looks to the Spartans like they're just going to cut through the Spartan lines and escape without taking too much damage.
Trying to avoid a fissure in the line. Makes sense. Good call.
And that actually is what Peloponnesus was planning to do. But he was an opportunist. And when he saw that the enemy was in disarray and was basically just letting them through, he took the opportunity to flank them. The Spartan garrison was routed, and according to most of the sources, this was actually the first time a Spartan army was ever defeated in a pitched battle.
Awesome. All right. Any other claims to fame for him?
Well, their most famous battle was the Battle of Leuctra. This came a few years later after an on-again, off-again peace with Sparta was off again. So on the Theban side, you got the Sacred Band under Peloponnesus, another 5,500 hoplites, 1,500 light infantry, and about 1,000 cavalry. The Spartan army that's marching against them is quite a bit bigger. They've got about the same light infantry and cavalry, but their hoplites outnumber the Thebans by almost 2 to 1.
Just a lot of emphasis here on size. I don't like it. I feel
right.
It's not.
Exactly. As they showed in the last fight, you just need enough depth to penetrate the line.
Yes.
Right. And lots of the time, you can have some success with girth and flanking from different angles. You can get horses involved. It's not just size.
So the Spartan army is under the command of a guy named Cleombrotus. And I had a whole description of what he looked like and how he was dressed and how oily he was, but apparently Pornhub and Zack Snyder's imagination aren't valid historical sources. So I'll just leave all of that out because Noah deleted it. I don't want to get into it. So he leads his army across the Boeotia and penetrated deeper and deeper into Theban territory until they reached the village of Leuctra.
Yeah, at which point he paused to check in a little because he was a gentleman.
Yeah. Exactly. So at Leuctra, they come across the Theban army, which is under the command of a guy whose name is Epaminondas.
I think it's empanada.
Sure empanada. Yeah.
Epaminondas.
Nope.
Epaminondas, of course. He recognizes that he's outnumbered, and he knows that the Spartan armies generally try to flank enemies with their right wing.
Which is weird because the left is usually a little bigger, so surprising.
Exactly. Right. So he sets up a weird formation where his left flank is 50 people deep, and the rest of his line is between 4 and 8. Now, nobody can seem to agree where the Sacred Band fits into this formation, but all the sources agree they were pivotal.
Yeah, and the Sacred Band fit right around the base, so the phalanx stayed erect. That's
smart. Yeah, smart.
Okay, I thought we said it was at the crest of the small hill under the hood. This is why these conflicts never finish. We all need to agree where everything
we need
is.
A map is what we need. What we need is a map.
All right, you know
Thank
what?
you.
Enough with the foreplay here. Let's get to the engagement.
All right, so the battle starts with a cavalry charge on both sides, and the Thebans win that pretty decisively. So the Spartans pull back, but retreating guys on horses, they kind of have a tendency to fuck up your heavy infantry lines. And because of all the chaos that ensued from that, the Spartans didn't realize that Epididymos, or whatever the fuck his name is, has set his chess pieces up so weird.
This bishop smells funny. That's all I'm saying.
If you think the bishop smells funny, don't sniff the altar boy.
As a general rule, don't sniff the altar boy.
Don't ask, don't smell.
Get enthusiastic consent. Yeah.
Fun fact, that was originally the catchphrase for Tom's snack cake. Don't sniff the altar boy. It was a whole thing. Anyways, so while things are disorderly among the enemy lines, the Thebans start to advance diagonally, with their unusually engorged left wing moving forward first. In fact, the guys on the far right side were actually retreating a bit to exaggerate the diagonal. Apparently, this is a military formation called the oblique order, and this is the first time it was used in recorded history.
All these guys on their grinder profiles exaggerating the diagonal.
Right, which is why you got to bring a protractor to your date. Yeah, smart.
I like to bring an abacus. My Tinder profile, it says must love beads. So I bring people keep asking me weird stuff about not math. I gotta like be clear or something.
That's fair. So, as predicted, the Spartans spread out their right wing to try to flank the Theban forces, but Pelopidas, acting under his own initiative, maneuvered the sacred band around to intercept the Spartans and cut them off. The right wing of the Spartans was quickly overwhelmed, and more than 1,000 hoplites died before they retreated.
Bad call. They should have retreated, then died.
Right?
Order of operations problem.
So Pausanias would later call it the most decisive battle ever fought by Greeks against Greeks. So remember, if anyone ever asks, the stars of Zack Snyder's racist, misogynist, repressed wet dream were defeated by actual gay dudes. Just remember that's the actual 301 or whatever that sequel was.
So was the Sacred Band itself ever defeated?
Yes. So eventually, Philip II of Macedon came around with his son, Alexander the Great, and whipped their asses in the Battle of Chernobyl. But before he got assassinated and his kid took over Persia, and then like the rest of the world, that campaign culminated in a huge battle between Macedonia and an alliance of Greek city-states led by Athens and Thebes, with over 30,000 men on each side. The Wikipedia article was not specific about how many of those men were fucking each other until I edited it. So if you ever think...
Honestly, it seems like the whole couples army thing is a bad idea, regardless of gender or orientation. Just a whole bunch of weird passive-aggressive fights before the battle even starts. Seemed pretty happy about fuck wrestling that Spartan the other day, didn't you? It's for work.
Oh, there it is.
Was it good?
Just like your mother.
It was different. It was different.
Now, as badass as the Sacred Band was, by now the Macedonians were using a novel type of phalanx called the long-speared Macedonian phalanx. And apparently the Sacred Band just like couldn't handle it.
Yeah, until they invented the Astroglide formation. That helped.
Exactly. So the battle was an overwhelming defeat, and the Sacred Band never surrendered. And according to Plutarch, all 300 of them died beside their commander. After they fell, the Thebans erected a giant statue of a lion near the village of Chernobyl over the tomb of the dead soldiers. After they fell, the Thebans erected a giant statue of a lion near a village nearby over the tomb of the dead soldiers. In 1818, a British architect and amateur archaeologist named George Ledwell Taylor, thank you, George Ledwell Taylor, fuck, a name. Anyways, that guy spent a summer in Greece and using Pausanias's descriptions, managed to find the lion statue. Later excavations in the area uncovered the skeletons of 254 men laid out in 7 rows. And historians are pretty sure that those are the actual remains of the Sacred Band.
All stacked on top of each other for thousands of years, just like they wanted it. All right, so if you had to summarize what you've learned in a single sentence, Eli, what would it be?
If Mike Pence is ever president, I know who to call.
All right, are you ready for the quiz?
Ready and willing.
All right, Eli. I'm going reverse today, like Jeopardy style. So the answer is cock, taper, scissors. Name that question.
Nice.
A, what's a fun game that's way more interesting than the original? B, what's the best way for gay and lesbian soldiers to decide who gets top and bottom when they're the same age?
Nice.
C, what's the title of Lorena Bobbitt's sex tape? Or D, what's a great reason to be ambidextrous in kindergarten?
Oh, Jesus, what?
Gotta go with the Lorena Bobbitt joke.
Yeah.
That is just
Topical. Thank
hot
you.
fire.
All right, Eli. The tradition of gay fighting forces continues to this day under what name? A, Otter Team 6. B, the 186 Raging Reach-Arounds.
Nice.
C, the Queen Berets. Or D, the Air Force.
Yeah, it's powerful.
I'm going to go with the Air Force.
All right, well, if you guys liked that joke, you're going to love the same joke when I tell it. All right, the sacred band of Thebes all died, but they lived on in spirit. What were their antecedents known as? A, the long pulled pork pirates. B, the great gherkin Gurkhas. C, the ballroom berserkers. Or D, the U.S. Navy.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's the Navy. It's definitely the Navy.
Same joke.
We worked it out before we
I like that joke, Cecil. It's the same joke,
Navy.
man.
Same joke.
It's the same joke.
Yeah.
I
All
told
right,
it
well, I'll tell you what, Tom,
Same
your
joke.
joke was so much better than everybody else's joke that you win. You win the washer dryer combo, the steak and shake gift certificate. Also, you get to take over as the host next week and decide who does all the work.
All right, well, I will pick the man who is my guiding light because he has the same height as a typical lighthouse. That would be Heath. We're going Heath.
All right, I'm tall. It's a defining characteristic for me.
The best part is he doesn't listen to the
I know he
Skeptocrats.
doesn't.
What happened?
Awesome. I'm known for being tall. It's fantastic. It's my defining characteristic. I'm excited about that.
All right, well, while Heath gets excited, we'll toss it over to Sarah for last week's Twitter answer and this week's Twitter question.
Thanks, Noah. Last week's question was, what would be the best invention to get killed by? The answer comes from Frosty Man on Twitter with this. Death by suicide booth. Not sure if the invention worked, but one satisfied customer already. This week's question is, what should the Sacred Band of Thebes motto be? Just retweet or Facebook share this episode with your answer for a chance to be next week's winner. Back to you, Noah.
All right, well, for Cecil, Eli, Heath, and Tom, I'm Noah. Thanking you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and by then, Heath will be an expert on something else. Between now and then, you can soak up more glorious us on Cognitive Dissonance, The Scathing Atheist, God Awful Movies, and The Skeptocrats. Hosts may vary. And if you'd like to help keep this show going, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod or leave us a 5-star review anywhere you can. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check the show notes, be sure to check out citationpod.com.
299 sexual harassment complaints.
No.
What kind of soldiers are these guys?
Bad ones, that's who. You are so tense right now.
My shoulders are fine.
No, they're not. They're tense.